the 12 constellations are a major important thing for us here on Earth, because they are the constellation of stars that have always been in the same position for thousands and thousands of years. They have been there in the skies in the same position for thousands of years. Even wise men from the ancient times, they looked at the skies to discern the times and the seasons. They looked at sailors looked at the stars to see where they were, where they are, and they were able to navigate through many parts of the world only by looking and understanding the face of the stars, because the constellations, they are always fixed in a position for us. And there are 12 constellations, just like there are 12 hours in a clock. So the constellations are Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgin, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricornus, Aquarius, and Pisces. There are 12 constellations. They are fixed in the sky, just like there are 12 hours in a clock. They are to be markers for us to understand, to perceive the times in the season which we are, because we have exactly 12 constellations there in the skies. So let's put this constellation here, this 12 constellation, just like on a circular position, just like a clock. So let's change it here to put them all in a clock-like position, and let's put the Earth here and also the 12 numbers here of the clock. So this is a sky clock where the constellations are fixed. They don't change, they are always the same here. And I believe I've been showing you guys this, and that's very important for you to understand, and also for you to propagate, to pass through this information for other watchmen, for other channels, for them to understand the times in which we are. And you will see in Stellarium that this does make sense, and it is perfectly aligned to what God wants us to do. So we have this giant sky clock with 12 positions here, 12 points that are fixed, and we have two big lights in the skies. The first one is the sun, which is like the hour pointer, and we also have the moon, which is like the minute pointer. Why do I say this? Because precisely the sun takes 30 days or one whole month to go from one constellation to the other constellation. So the sun moves slowly, and for it to go from one constellation to the other constellation, it takes 30 days or one exactly month. It takes 1 month to go from one constellation to the other constellation. While the moon is differently. The moon in 30 days, in 1 month, goes through all of the constellations. In just 1 month, in 30 days, the moon goes through all the 12 constellations. So it's exactly like a clock. It's exactly like a wall clock, where one pointer is lower, and it takes exactly 1 month to go, or 1 hour to go, to move 1 hour, while the minute pointer goes throughout all of the 12 pointers, 12 hours, 12 points in the clock in 1 hour. So the moon, the sun and the moon, they are precise with this. And also the moon changes its phase to show us exactly the minute changing, the moment in the sky, the precision of the days in the sky changing. So together they work like this. While the sun goes and takes 30 days to go from one constellation to the other, the moon goes into all constellations and come back to the sun. So that's how the sky clock works, precisely just like a clock. And I think this is something from God that is very simple to understand, because we already used the hours of a day based on the sun, and it is perfectly like a sun clock, like a sun clock hour, like a clock in the wall, just exactly just like that. So it is very simple for us to understand, especially when you see that the sun takes 30 days or 1 month to go from one constellation to the other, while the moon goes throughout all the constellations in just 1 month. Precisely just like the hour and the minute pointer. And with that, we can go to Stellarium. Let me just close here a few things. Let's go to Stellarium and let's check here when was the date, or how was the sky when the Jewish nation said it is the first day of the first month. So as you can see here in the sky clock, we know for sure that Aries is the first month, because that's the month of the Lamb. That's when the blood moon happens, when the sun here was pointing the Lamb. So the first month is Aries, the month of the Lamb. We're looking in the skies. We're looking the full moon in Virgo, while the sun in Pisces. That's what the Jews, the church, and most of the watchmen will be calling Passover. Does it make any sense for it to be Passover while the sun is still in Pisces and the full moon in Virgin, instead of being in Aries, the Lamb, and the scales, which is the judgment of the blood of the Lamb? It does not make sense. So when the Jewish nation, most of the church and most of the watchmen are calling Passover, truly this is the feast of Purim, the feast of Esther. And that's a major important date for us. As I explained on my previous video, this is the major watch date for us, because while the Jews and the whole world will see this as Passover, but it isn't, for them will be relevant, because if the rapture happens when the Jews in the world think it is Passover, clearly they will make a connection to God, because Passover is one of the holiest, if not the holiest month for God. So they will make this connection, because they are wrong. They will make this connection, and the Jews are expecting Elijah to appear in Passover. Elijah clearly is the guy who was raptured in the Bible. So they will make this connection in their mind that on Passover, for them, people from the world disappeared, was raptured, just like Elijah that they are expecting in Passover. And the world and the Jews will understand that this is a God thing, and they will remember Elijah. However, for the bride, this will be the true date of Purim, the true feast of Purim, the feast of Esther. And for us, this is amazing, because for the Gentiles, for the bride, Esther is the bride that replaced Vastir, which is the unobeying bride. So the king in the story of Esther, he replaces the Jewish nation, or Vastir, the bride, with a new Gentile bride called Esther. So this is a feast of the bride, the feast of the wedding, the feast of the new bride coming to the king. Also, Esther, or Ha-Esther, it is a term in Hebrew that means to hide, and that I got from Pastor Sandy. And we know that the church will be hidden for this 7 years tribulation that will happen on earth. So Esther, to be hidden in their bridal chambers, perfectly aligned to the feast of Esther, Purim. Also, it is the feast of the protection. So in history, they were trying to kill the Jews. However, on this day, the Jews overcame their enemies and they were protected. So it is the feast of the rescue. Also, a rescue here for the bride who will be rescued out of this world. And it is also the feast of the bride, because the Esther entered here on her bridal chambers on this day as well. So the sun will be pointing to Pisces, which is a symbol for the church. We are the 153 fishes that are caught in the miracle fishing with Jesus resurrected. And we're also the bride, the virgin, the 5 wise virgins that are taken into the bridal chamber. So for the skies, this is a perfect match for the situation here for the Jews in the world, this is a perfect match as well. For the whole celestial events, for the whole thing in the world, this is a perfect match as well. So while the Jews are thinking this is Passover, truly this will be Feast of Purim, Feast of the Bride, Feast of the Hidden One, and that matches as well because remember, it is the month of Adar, the month of Glorious, the month of Pisces, and we are the Pisces, and also Joshua crosses the Jordan, crosses the descent before Passover and celebrate Passover already in the Promised Land. So we have still 1 month after the rapture, most likely here in the next full moon, for us to be with God in the Promised Land and celebrate Passover there, when He will fulfill His promise to drink of the fruit of the vine with us in the Father's house already in Passover. So this is a perfect match. The summer is near. We're still in the prophetic year of 2022, not in 2023 yet, because the year turns for the Bible in the month of Aries. So a lot of connections here work perfectly to this situation, while the Jews are thinking Passover truly is the Feast of the Bride, the Feast of Esther.